they sent me to the State Employment Agency, you know what they told me? Well, I see you have a minor infraction here for public intoxication while driving a motor vehicle. So I said, what that mean? I did 3 tours over there, 2 voluntary tours. You didn't say nothing about that little infraction when I was over there fighting and killing people.
Through the mirror of my mind, time after time, I see reflections of you and me.
The Vietnam War was a tumultuous period in American history, marked not only by the conflict itself, but also by significant racial tensions and injustices within the U.S. military.
In Memphis, Tennessee, a white man assassinated Dr. Martin Luther King, who heroically opposed the cruel racial discrimination in the USA. Dr. King also opposed the U.S. war in Vietnam.
Try to help the brothers and the white man get along. So they started this little thing up and ain't no progress, been getting into it at all. It's been going for something like about 4 days now, you know. So they're gonna tell me, says, well, look here, we want you to be on the team, you know. So they're gonna form this team, a white man and a black man. Yet and still, every time I go up there, you know, discuss a problem with the man, the white man ain't never there. They ain't got no white man. They just want a black man in there so they can find out everything the black man is doing and what he's going through, you know. They're gonna try to put their own ideas on the white man because all white men think alike. Devilish and shit, you know.
Reflections of the way life used to be.
This article explores the experiences of Black American soldiers during the war, highlighting their growing opposition to the conflict and their fight for equality. It also examines how their struggle became intertwined with a sense of racial solidarity with the Vietnamese people, leading to increased activism both on the battlefield and at home.
Black GI, your government sent 600,000 troops to crush the rebellion. The soul sisters and soul brothers are enraged in over 122 cities. They kill them. Why you fight against us?
I've been in the service 22 years, and I feel that if I were Caucasian, that I would be a sergeant major right now. I'd hold the rank of sergeant major. I definitely feel that I have been held back because of the fact that I'm black. Even though, indicative of my work, I received numerous commendations, etc., and so forth. But when I first came in the Army, you know, the Army was all black back in '47. At that time, we had 2 armies, black and white Army. And I've been in a position where the individuals have told me, the individuals in command have told me that because of the fact that somebody else is a little older than I am and he's retiring, although he couldn't do the job as well as I could do the job, that they felt that they would have the benefit of the promotion. Okay, fine, this is gone. And then I've been in a position where individuals have told me, I'm sorry, we don't have your rank and grade here for this particular job. But then the moment that I was ready to leave that particular unit on a PCS, I find out that 10 days prior to the time of my leaving, orders have been cut, but they haven't been issued to the individuals, and they have been already promoted.
Reflections of the love you took from me.
Disproportionate burden and selective service. From the outset of the war, it became apparent that the burden of military service was disproportionately borne by Black Americans and poor white Americans. While college students could defer from military service during the early years of the war, this advantage was primarily accessible to wealthier individuals. This disparity is evident in the draft statistics, with 64% of eligible Black American men being drafted in 1967 compared to only 31% of eligible white men.
So far away from where you are needed.
In coming up too, I've had, I think I've got about the same number of years that Dave has in. And it happened to me once the same way. Everybody else just advanced and same thing. I've got numerous commendations. Saying what a good job you've done. You're A number 1. We want you here. But in the meantime, the white GIs were just getting promoted with less qualification than I had. So consequently, I had to have that idea that I was being segregated against. It's been pretty rough for black men to move up.
Oh, I'm all alone now.
Underrepresentation and educational disparities. Black Americans were also underrepresented in the officer corps, highlighting a lack of upward mobility and leadership opportunities within the military. In 1962, Black Americans accounted for less than 2% of officer-ranked servicemen, a figure that only slightly increased to 2.3% in 1972. Furthermore, historic disparities in education resulted in many Black Americans scoring lower on military entrance examinations, limiting their eligibility for technical military specialties.
Black GI. The South Vietnamese people are resolute against this fascist act, against Negroes, against the struggle for civil rights and freedom. Negroes are only 11% of the U.S. population, but among troops here in Vietnam, you are 32%.
Yeah, that's the reason for the riot. I mean, all right, let's say now it's an order out. Can't be no more than 5 brothers on the streets at one time. You know, can't sit nowhere. No more than 5, you know, or else the riot squad is gonna come and they wanna know, you know, this happened before. We got names, we got places too, it's all official, we know. But the people in the States don't know, see. And the way we see it is that they get us over here away from home and they'll misuse us because we can't get back home.
No love to shield me.
Discrimination and punishment. Black American soldiers faced discriminatory treatment during the Vietnam War. A 1972 Department of Defense study revealed that they received a disproportionate share of non-judicial and court-martial punishments. They were also overrepresented in military prisons, such as Long Binh Jail, where they accounted for 58% of prisoners in 1969. Additionally, black servicemen were more likely to receive less than honorable discharges compared to their white counterparts.
Black GI, is it fair to serve more than the white Americans that sent you here? Nothing is more confusing than to be ordered into a war to die or to be named for life without the faintest idea of what's going on.
On this very occasion that we went out on a search and destroy mission, we ran into one North Vietnamese hardcore soldier. He was a regular, meaning that he was trained in North Vietnam, and a platoon of 30 to 35 men surrounded this one Vietnamese soldier in a tunnel. And we had interpreters, and we talked to him for about 2 hours trying to talk him out of the hole. And then we turned to our tactics of throwing grenades into the tunnel, shooting into it. We fired everything in there. And we still used the interpreter to try to talk him out of it, but we spent 2 hours, 35 men against one. Took 2 hours to kill this man. And the only way that we killed him was that one of the men out of that platoon went in there with a shotgun and beat him to the draw. He would not give up. And this is the day that I really will remember in my life, that if a man have a belief, a real belief, he should be willing to die for it. Now, I was proud of that North Vietnamese soldier because he gave me a living example of what a man's supposed to be.
Trapped in a world that's a distorted reality.
Combat assignments and casualties. Black Americans were more likely to be assigned to combat units and experience higher casualty rates in Vietnam. Despite comprising only 11% of the civilian population, they represented 16.3% of draftees and 23% of combat troops. In 1965 alone, Black Americans accounted for nearly a quarter of all combat deaths, further highlighting the disproportionate impact of the war on their community. Activism and solidarity. The racial injustices experienced by Black American soldiers fueled their opposition to the war and their growing activism. Influential figures such as Malcolm X denounced the Vietnam War, and his teachings resonated with soldiers who initiated movements like GIs United against the war. Black progressives in electoral politics also spoke out against the war, framing it as a form of racism. Racial tensions and solidarity with Vietnamese people. Racial tensions escalated during the Vietnam War, particularly on rear-line military bases. Incidents of rioting and racial conflicts were reported, with racial incidents becoming commonplace across multiple military installations. Amidst these tensions, many Black American soldiers developed a sense of racial solidarity with the Vietnamese people. The shared perception of both Vietnamese and Black Americans as victims of white racism led to empathy and understanding between them. Conclusion. The Vietnam War was a time of significant racial tension and injustice for Black American soldiers in the U.S. military. Their opposition to the war and their struggle for equality became intertwined, leading to a sense of racial solidarity with the Vietnamese people and an increase in activism. Through their experiences and activism, Black American soldiers played a crucial role in highlighting the racial disparities within the military and advocating for change, leaving a lasting impact on both the civil rights movement and the anti-war movement of the era.
I dedicate this next record to the soul brothers of the 1st Infantry Division, Big Red 1, 2nd Battalion, 136th Regiment. Have a good day, gentlemen. 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 Be safe. Be safe.